Hollywood. It's a place where dreams are made and broken, where talent and ambition collide. From the silent films of Charlie Chaplin to the blockbusters of Steven Spielberg, Hollywood has produced some of the most iconic and enduring works of art in human history. To understand how Hollywood became the entertainment capital of the world, we need to go back to its humble beginnings. Small production companies were drawn to Southern California by its abundant sunshine and diverse landscapes. Aspiring directors, actors, and writers flocked to Los Angeles, eager to be part of this exciting new industry. One such pioneer was Karl Laemmle, a German immigrant who founded Universal Pictures. Another key figure was William Fox, who founded Fox Film Corporation, later 20th Century Fox. These early pioneers were driven by a mix of artistic vision and entrepreneurial spirit. The early days of Hollywood were a time of both great promise and immense challenges. Filmmaking was still in its infancy, and the pioneers of the industry were essentially making it up as they went along. Despite the challenges, the nascent film industry in Los Angeles flourished. By the 1910s, numerous studios had sprung up around Los Angeles, each vying for audiences and profits. Filmmakers experimented with new techniques, genres, and storytelling methods, pushing the boundaries of what cinema could be. The rise of the Nickelodeon theater in the early 20th century marked a turning point for the film industry. These small, inexpensive theaters offered short films for a nickel, making entertainment accessible to a mass audience for the first time. The demand for content skyrocketed, fueling the rapid growth of studios in Hollywood. The Nickelodeon era also saw the emergence of the first movie stars. As audiences flocked to Nickelodeons, they developed favorites among the actors they saw on screen. Florence Lawrence, dubbed the Biograph Girl, was one of the first to break through the anonymity common in early film. The swashbuckling adventures of Douglas Fairbanks Sr. captivated audiences, while Mary Pickford won hearts with her portrayals of innocent yet determined young women. Studios, realizing the marketing potential of these recognizable faces, began using their names in advertising. The concept of star power was born. As Hollywood entered the 1920s, the film industry was evolving at a breakneck pace. To meet the soaring demand for movies, a new system of production emerged: the studio system. Major studios like Paramount, Warner Brothers, and MGM exerted unprecedented control over every aspect of filmmaking. This vertical integration allowed studios to manage costs, streamline production, and maximize profits. Movies were produced on tight schedules, often adhering to established formulas and genres. The studio system fostered a factory-like approach to filmmaking. At the helm of these powerful studios were larger-than-life figures known as movie moguls. Men like Adolph Zukor of Paramount and Louis B. Mayer of MGM wielded immense power and influence. Under their leadership, Hollywood studios became synonymous with a particular brand of entertainment: glamorous, escapist, and often morally conservative. Central to the power of the studio system was the concept of vertical integration. This meant that the major studios controlled not just the production of films, but also their distribution and exhibition. The Justice Department eventually challenged the studio system's monopolistic practices, leading to landmark antitrust lawsuits in the 1940s. By the mid-1920s, Hollywood was on the cusp of its golden age. The advent of sound film in 1927, with the release of The Jazz Singer, revolutionized the industry. Suddenly, movies could sing and dance, bringing a whole new dimension to storytelling. The studios embraced sound with enthusiasm, investing heavily in new equipment and technologies. The golden age of Hollywood had arrived, and with it, a new era of cinematic storytelling. The advent of sound in film brought about significant upheaval within the industry. Silent film stars found themselves suddenly out of work if their voices didn't match their on-screen personas. Sound stages had to be soundproofed, cameras were redesigned to be silent, and a new breed of technicians emerged. The cost of filmmaking skyrocketed as studios invested heavily in these new technologies. Dialogue replaced intertitles, allowing for more nuanced and realistic character development. Just as Hollywood was hitting its stride with the advent of sound, the world was plunged into economic turmoil. Yet even as breadlines grew and despair deepened, people continued to flock to the movies. Hollywood, in its own way, became a lifeline for a nation struggling to cope with unprecedented hardship. By the 1930s, Hollywood had become a global entertainment powerhouse. The universal language of cinema transcended cultural and linguistic barriers. Hollywood's global dominance solidified its status as a major cultural force, shaping perceptions of America and influencing cinematic trends worldwide. As Hollywood's influence grew, so too did concerns about its impact on society, particularly on the morals of young people. The industry's embrace of risque themes and suggestive content in the early 1930s sparked a backlash from religious groups and conservative segments of society. In response to mounting pressure and the threat of government intervention, the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America, or MPPDA, adopted the Production Code in 1930, commonly known as the Hays Code after its president, Will H. Hays. This self-imposed set of guidelines dictated what was considered morally acceptable content for Hollywood films. The Hays Code had a profound impact on filmmaking for the next 3 decades. It prohibited the depiction of nudity, profanity, drug use, and interracial relationships, among other things. It also placed restrictions on the portrayal of violence, crime, and sexual content, requiring filmmakers to find creative ways to imply rather than explicitly show such themes. While the Hays Code is often credited with cleaning up Hollywood, it also stifled artistic expression and led to the censorship of countless films. Filmmakers chafed under its restrictions, finding ways to subvert its rules while still adhering to its letter. The code's influence began to wane in the 1950s as societal values shifted, and it was eventually abandoned in 1968, paving the way for a new era of cinematic freedom. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 cast a long shadow over Hollywood, but it also ushered in a new era of patriotic filmmaking. Studios rallied behind the war effort, producing countless films designed to boost morale and support the troops. War films became a dominant genre, showcasing the bravery and sacrifice of American soldiers. These films, often propagandistic in nature, served to unite the nation behind a common cause and reinforce the image of America as a force for good. Hollywood also produced escapist fare, offering audiences a distraction from wartime anxieties. Musicals, comedies, and romances provided hope amidst the uncertainty of a world at war. Post-war Hollywood reflected changing times. Film noir emerged, exploring darker themes and post-war anxieties. These films offered a stark contrast to wartime optimism, reflecting the complex realities of a nation grappling with global conflict. Even as the world grappled with the aftermath of war, Hollywood continued to innovate and push the boundaries of cinematic storytelling. One of the most significant developments of the post-war era was the widespread adoption of Technicolor, a process that allowed for vibrant and realistic color in films. Previously, color in film had been limited to hand tinting or expensive and often unreliable processes. Technicolor revolutionized the industry, bringing a new level of visual splendor to the big screen. Audiences were captivated by the vibrant hues and lifelike tones, and studios quickly embraced the technology, eager to capitalize on its popularity. Musicals, with their elaborate costumes and dazzling dance numbers, were particularly well-suited to Technicolor. Films like Singin' in the Rain from 1952 and An American in Paris from 1951 showcased the technology's ability to create a world of pure cinematic joy and escapism. But Technicolor wasn't just for musicals. Historical epics, westerns, and even film noir embraced the technology, using color to enhance realism, create mood, and tell stories in new and innovative ways. The world of cinema was forever changed, and audiences, accustomed to the drabness of black and white, marveled at the possibilities of this new era of cinematic color. As the Cold War took hold in the late 1940s, a wave of anti-communist paranoia swept through American society. Hollywood, with its perceived liberal leanings and history of left-wing activism, became a prime target of this Red Scare. The House Un-American Activities Committee, a congressional committee tasked with investigating suspected communist infiltration, set its sights on Hollywood, holding hearings that would forever tarnish the industry's reputation. Writers, directors, and actors were called before the committee and interrogated about their political beliefs and affiliations. Those who refused to cooperate with the committee, citing their First Amendment rights, were blacklisted, effectively barred from working in Hollywood. Many talented individuals saw their careers destroyed, their names dragged through the mud, their voices silenced by fear and suspicion. The blacklist had a chilling effect on creative expression in Hollywood. Studios, fearful of being targeted by HUAC, became increasingly risk-averse, avoiding films that dealt with controversial social or political themes. The industry entered a period of relative conformity, as filmmakers self-censored their work, steering clear of anything that might be deemed subversive or un-American. The blacklist began to crumble in the late 1950s and early 1960s, as the Red Scare lost its momentum and the public grew increasingly critical of its excesses. However, its legacy continued to haunt Hollywood, a stark reminder of the dangers of political extremism and the importance of protecting artistic freedom. As the 1950s progressed, a new challenger emerged to Hollywood's dominance: television. The rise of this new medium had a profound impact on the film industry. Movie attendance declined as audiences embraced the convenience of television. Studios experimented with widescreen formats and 3D to lure audiences back. Hollywood began to explore television as a new outlet for its content. Studios produced TV shows, licensed films for broadcast, and established networks. The arrival of television marked a turning point in entertainment history. A new generation, attuned to the social upheavals of the 60s, emerged. The counterculture movement challenged Hollywood's established norms. Films like Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate captured the spirit of the times. From its humble beginnings in the sunny fields of Southern California, Hollywood has risen to become a global entertainment juggernaut, shaping the dreams, aspirations, and cultural landscapes of billions across generations. The stories it has told, the stars it has created, and the technological innovations it has pioneered have left an indelible mark on the world. The studio system, for all its flaws and complexities, created a cinematic golden age, producing a wealth of iconic films that continue to enchant and inspire audiences today. From the swashbuckling adventures of Errol Flynn to the romantic comedies of Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant, these films offer a glimpse into a bygone era, but their themes of love, loss, ambition, and the struggle for justice remain timeless. Beyond its entertainment value, Hollywood has played a pivotal role in shaping social attitudes and cultural norms. It has reflected societal anxieties, challenged conventions, and, at times, pushed the boundaries of what is considered acceptable. From the glamour of its golden age to the gritty realism of its new Hollywood era, it has held up a mirror to society, forcing us to confront both our aspirations and our demons. The legacy of Hollywood is not without its shadows. The stories it has told have not always been inclusive, often perpetuating stereotypes and overlooking the experiences of marginalized communities. The industry's history is marred by scandals, exploitation, and the silencing of dissenting voices. Despite challenges, Hollywood has consistently adapted and reinvented itself. The rise of television expanded Hollywood's reach, creating new avenues for storytelling. Today, streaming services reshape how audiences consume entertainment. The lines between film and television blur, challenging Hollywood's dominance. Yet the allure of Hollywood remains. The magic of storytelling, the power of moving images, and larger-than-life personalities captivate audiences worldwide. Hollywood must embrace diversity, champion new voices, and push creative boundaries. The stories it tells will shape the future of entertainment and our understanding of the world. The lights of Hollywood may dim, but the dream factory endures. The power of cinema to transport and transform shows no sign of fading. The world watches in eager anticipation, ready to be entertained and swept away by the magic of the movies.